Hi guys, welcome back to another Minimum Wagers Kitchen. I'm Gigi and today we're going to be making some really yummy homemade rosemary olive oil crackers. You know, the really spendy kind at the grocery store? Well, we're going to make that for less than $2, so let's go ahead and get started, shall we? Alright guys, so today we're going to be using my mom's very old pasta maker. This one's about 30 to 40 years old, so yes, it is vintage. This one is an Imperia, and this one was made in Italy, in Turin, and I want to say this is the Lux. Let's take a look here. Yes, this is Tipo Lusso, so this is the luxury type 150 is what it says on here. So yeah, look it up. It's pretty cool. I mean, it's your typical pasta maker, obviously, but still, it's the fact that it's been around for such a long time in my family, and I'm excited to use it today to make you so delicious rosemary olive oil crackers. Alright, so let's get started with the ingredients. Alright guys, so very simple recipe, and also too, not many ingredients involved, so this one's an easy one as well. And such a budget saver too, especially because again, those crackers I see in the store, those rosemary, really kind of flaky, yummy, with salt on top, like $7 to $9. Yeah, let's go ahead and take down the price a little bit, huh? So let's go ahead and get started with our ingredients. Alright guys, so for the ingredients today we're going to do 1 1/4 cups of just regular flour. We're also going to go ahead and do 1/4 to a 1/2 cup of water. Next ingredient is going to be a 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, 2 tablespoons of salt. We're also going to go ahead and do 4 tablespoons of olive oil. And for our last ingredient, we're going to go ahead and do some rosemary, and that's 2 tablespoons. You can also chop this up with a knife, or you can use some scissors. Alright guys, let's get everything put together. So, for our ingredients, first off, roll up your sleeves, or pull them up, so we don't get flour all over them. And what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and start with our dry ingredients. So we're going to go ahead and add all of our dry ingredients into a bowl. And that's the flour, our baking soda, our salt, and our fresh rosemary as well. Alright, so next we're going to go ahead and just mix these in. We want to incorporate all the dry ingredients together so they're nicely mixed. And by the way, as you start stirring this in with the fresh rosemary, you're already going to smell some wonderful smells. Oh, rosemary. So let me go ahead and show you what this looks like now that it's all mixed in. Takes no time at all. And there you go. So now you get to see some of that rosemary in there as well. And now what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and make a well in the center. And now I'm going to go ahead and add my water. I'll start with a 1/4 cup. Add my olive oil as well. And now all I'm going to do is go around and get that flour from the sides into the center. And what I'm doing right now is just getting this all mixed in to make it into a really rough dough. And I'll show you here in just a moment. Alright guys, so here is what it should look like. Pretty rough. Yep. There you go. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to press down with my spatula for just a few moments. What I'm doing now is just making sure all that flour at the bottom is stuck to our dough. That way we can start kneading our dough. So to get all that flour, it'll take about a couple seconds. It shouldn't take very long. Otherwise, your dough is too dry. And remember, I have a 1/2 cup, but I went ahead and reserved a little bit. I started out with a 1/4 cup, just in case. Alright, so that took like a minute. Let me show you here real quick, and that's with the spatula, by the way. So I just went around like this. Just kind of pressed around, And that way there is no flour really stuck to the bowl anymore or on the sides. So now what I'm going to do with my ball of dough here is I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle a little bit of flour, cut this in 4 pieces, and then we're going to use that pasta maker to go ahead and roll out our dough to 1/16 of an inch. Now, if you do need reference for that, use a penny. Just use the thickness of a penny and just go slightly thinner if you can. Now, rolling this should be pretty easy using just a regular rolling pin. But again, today, because I do have the luxury of that awesome vintage pasta maker, I'm going to take advantage of that today and see what I can do with these. Alright, I'll see you in just a moment. Alright guys, I'm back. So, now that I've got my dough out, I went ahead and sprinkled some flour here, and what I've done is just, done a little circle so I have a bunch of flour so our dough doesn't stick to the counter. And I'll go ahead and flip it over real quick and add some flour to that. And I'm just trying to make it round so you can cut it into 4 pieces, because we're going to go ahead and roll it through the pasta maker in just a few moments. So let's go ahead and cut it in 4s. There's that. One more time. And one more time. Okay. So now that we have that, we're going to go ahead and make balls here. And that way, you can easily roll it through. Alright. And of course, if you need a little bit of flour, that's perfectly fine. And the trick too is don't overdo your dough at this point. It has bounce, if you can see. And really, I didn't work with the dough too much. So that's the other thing. You'll see too. It'll actually help with the crispiness if you don't overdo your dough. Okay, so now that I have this, I'm going to go ahead and give it a quick roll. Quick roll. Alright, and a squish. And there you go. Same size as that one. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and finish the last one here. And let's go ahead and roll, and squish. Alright, so now we've got those 4 ready to go. And I'll be back here in just a few moments to show you how to set up this pasta maker. And we're going to go ahead and roll these out to 1/16 of an inch and make some crackers. Alright, I'm excited. Alright, so now we have the pasta maker set up. And what I did is, there's a part here, it's kind of hard to see, so, but there is a part that kind of hooks up to your counter. It's just a little hook part, and there's a screw. You just screw it in, and it holds on. So the next step would be the handle. And the handle has a little section here where you can just go ahead and line it up. There we go. And ta-da! Just like magic, except we're going to go this way, of course. And we do want it to be going out this way because there is more room here, obviously. I also put a little bit of flour down here, so that way when our dough is falling through, it'll be a little bit easier to manage and it won't stick all over. Also, too, it'll be a nice place to do one of these before we go ahead and roll it through. This will get messy. It's flour, no big deal though, right? So what we're going to go ahead and do is that there's this little area here. If you click down, there's a little knob that you can turn, and what it does for the inside, there's 2 rollers, and what they do is it either makes this thicker, so that we have thicker pasta, or you can go ahead and change it to a thinner setting. And what I'm going to do is do about a 16th of an inch setting here. Alright, so we can actually do that. But I am going to start at the thickest setting possible right now, so that I can at least get the dough through. So I'll start with the thickest setting. I've got a little bit of flour going on here, and really I'm just kind of like, giving it a little bit of a pull So that way we can get started. And that way our flour does not stick. All right, so let's go ahead and give this a test. Ooh. That is round one. Take a look. All right, not bad for round one. But we need a little bit more flour on here because otherwise this will stick. I will also show you how to use the rolling pin method as well, just because everybody doesn't have a pasta maker or room for a pasta maker sometimes. So, okay. Sorry, just getting a little flour on there. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to go ahead and do a thinner setting. And let's see if we can get away with doing that 1/16 of an inch. All right. Here we go. Oh, look at that. Mind you, I'm keeping my hand away. Whoa! Keeping my hand away from the roly part. Just because, again, this is not as stable as I want it to be. Hey, it's a minimum wager's kitchen. That's all I can say. Well, I gotta say, the pasta maker, that's impressive, and that works out pretty darn well. But again, not everybody has a pasta maker, so now let me go ahead and show you how to roll these out with a rolling pin. All right, so for the rolling pin method, go ahead and grab a little bit of extra flour, put that down, move your pasta maker out of the way there. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and start with some flour here. And I'm gonna go ahead and just generously add a little bit of flour. Don't mind my outfit, I am covered in flour as well. So now I'm gonna go ahead and just give this a quick stretch and just flatten a little bit with my hand. And just FYI, with this method, you're not going to get it as perfect as with the pasta maker. And that's okay, because we're going to cut them anyways. All right, so next step, go ahead and roll this out. And it should be pretty easy to roll out, and boom. And what I like to do is just give it a quick dusting. Give it a quick flip. Not too much flour. And the last roll on this. Alright, and that's it. And that is 1/16 of an inch, so boom. Alright, so let's go ahead and do another one with the pasta maker. I had to take off that little piece there just because it doesn't fit very well with my older apartment. Who knew? But that's all right. So I'll just be real careful and let's go ahead and get started. So first, again, let's go ahead and pat this onto a little bit of flour. And go ahead and whoop. All right. And again, we're doing the flour so it doesn't stick in the rollers here of the pasta maker. And I'm actually going to go ahead and show you here. See those guys right there? Those are the rollers, and then this guy right here is how you can adjust settings for the thickness. Super simple. You know, I love easy designs like this. Also too, because they're easier to clean. All right, so again, start with that thick setting, that first setting here, and hopefully I can do this without knocking the whole thing off the floor, because that would not be good. And line this up again. All right, now I'm lined up. So let's go ahead and get started on this. And what I'm going to do is start Whoop. That is a little harder to do with one hand, I gotta say. So I'm gonna try. Not the easiest without the piece there, I've gotta say. Alright, so we've got this down. Put a little bit more flour. And 1/16 inch setting. See if I can do this without mangling it completely. Oh boy. Maybe if I go fast enough. Not very efficient this way, I gotta say. Let's take a look. Alright. Well, that worked. And it didn't get all stuck. Cool. Got one more to go. So go ahead and roll that out without breaking my foot, dropping this on the floor. We'll see. Alright, so wish me good luck, and I'll be right back. I'm going to finish this, and then we'll go ahead and cut these, go ahead and salt these, and put these in the oven to bake. See you in a moment. Alright guys, so I've gone ahead and rolled this out. So what I did is I have this first pan here, and that's going to be with the ones that I use the pasta maker on. And then the second pan here is going to be the ones that I rolled out with the rolling pin. That way you can see the difference too. And if you are using a penny, please wash the penny, because pennies are pretty gross. Now that we've got these all rolled out, let's go ahead and cut these. Super simple. What I've done is I've just placed them on a cookie sheet with a parchment paper just to make it really easy to clean up as well. So these are the ones that I rolled out with the pasta maker. And again, these are rolled out with the rolling pin. So, all right, so let me go ahead and show you how to cut these. Super simple. You can just flip them right out of that cookie sheet with that parchment paper, and super easy. All we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and cut them about 1 inch to 1.5 inches. So I'm just going to go and cut these real quick like this. Let me actually get a little closer here so you guys can see. All right. I'm just doing that 1/2 inch cut right now. Pardon the urban noises in the background. And then for the rest of these, up to about this one or so. So I'm going to go ahead and just mark that so I know. And mark that one so I know. Some of them will be one by one. They don't have to be perfect. Okay. All right. And there we go. In fact, I'll go ahead and cut through those. Now, all I'm going to do is, because they are lightly floured anyways on the bottom and the top from before, I'm just going to go ahead, oops, for that little side, pull them apart. And you can do that too, is just go ahead and get these on the cookie sheet right away. But yeah, so you can go there. And all I am going to do is give these just a tad of room so that they can bake. And these won't take very long to bake, by the way. That's the other nice thing about these. Great. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get these all cut up and get these all set to go to bake. So I'll be back in a few moments and I'll show you what they look like. Alright, so crackers are cut, and I used a pizza cutter for these. So much easier, just trust me. So these have baking powder in them, and what I want to make sure is that they don't get all puffed up all over the place. It's okay if you get little puffs here and there. They'll contribute to the crunchiness of the cracker for sure. But what we don't want is over resin or over puffed crackers. So to eliminate that, we're going to go ahead and use a fork. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm barely going to go ahead and hold down to our crackers here and just go 1, 2, 3. And really just go across 1, 2, 3. That way we have several perforations on the cracker and you won't get a bunch of big bubbles. All right, and I'll be back in just a moment. I'll go ahead and finish these up. We'll go ahead and salt these, and then we'll go ahead and start baking them. All right, so I went ahead and poked all the crackers with a fork here, about 2 or 3 times each, depending on the size. Hi, Audrey. Say hi to YouTube. She's not very interested, never mind. All right, so the last step here is going to be adding a little bit of salt sprinkled on top of our crackers. So what I have here is a little bit of coarse salt. You don't need to use coarse salt. You can also use just regular fine salt, Maldon salt, really whatever you have. So I'm going to go ahead and use coarse salt because that's really what a lot of different cracker companies do use to top their crackers. I'm also going to show you a little trick here in just a moment to keep that salt on there. And do generously salt these, it's okay. Gotta remember, this is mostly flour, olive oil, and rosemary. So the salt really brings out the flavor of the rosemary as an herb and the olive oil as well. And the salt will also contribute to the flavor of the nice goldenness of our crackers. All right, so here's the step that's gonna make it so that your salt stays onto the cracker. I'm barely gonna press down, barely. So that way, some of that salt sticks on there. Okay, and that salt should not stick to your hands anyway, so you know. There you go. Literally one flake. All right, so it cannot get any easier than this. We're gonna go ahead and put these in the oven at 450, so make sure you preheat your oven at 450. You'll put these in the oven for about 5-6 minutes. After 5-6 minutes, go ahead and pull them out. I'm gonna go ahead and flip these and then bake them for about another 4 to 5 minutes or so until the edges are slightly golden. All right, guys, let's go ahead and pop these in the oven, shall we? See you in 5 minutes. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and flip these real quick. It's been about 5 minutes or so. They smell so heavenly. So good. I'll show you here too what they look like. So this is round 1. And what I'm gonna do is put these down for a second. Go ahead and leave your stove on, of course. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and give these a quick flip. So here's the deal, guys. You've seen me do this before. I'm probably shouldn't be doing this, but I'm turning these over and they're super hot. So don't do that. For some reason, I've been baking so long that at this point, I guess I'm immune to it. I don't know. I'm just so used to it, I guess. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and flip these over. And I'm going to go ahead and get these back in the oven. And don't forget that salt was on the top. So I've got some more salt. And again, salt generously just because they're spread apart. That way you get some of the salt on here. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and pop these back in the oven. And again, that's going to be about 3 to 4 minutes. If you need to, you can leave them in for another minute as well. Just make sure you keep checking on them every 2-3 minutes or so. All right, guys, crackers are ready. Let me go ahead and turn this oven off and let's get these out of the oven. Put the first sheet. All right. Well, I gotta say, the one with the pasta maker that we rolled out turned out fantastic. Look at these. These are great. Show you a little bit of that crispiness there and the salt. Yeah. And I will show you, if you go too thin, it will start burning a little bit. For example, that one was like the itty bitty edge of the one that we did with the rolling pin. So yeah, there's only 2 of them, so it's not too bad. But yeah, these look great. I think they look delicious, and I can't wait to try them. And my whole place smells like rosemary and olive oil right now, so nothing wrong with that. I am actually really enjoying it. Alright guys, so let me go ahead and get these cooled off here. What I'm going to do is get these in the center of the parchment paper, not burn my hand on the cookie sheet, and voila! Now, you pretty much have a clean cookie sheet to work with, so. Alright, and same thing, kind of move these in the center. And mind you, I let the cookie sheet just like cool down for a little bit, so I don't burn my hands here. What I'm going to go ahead and do now is spread these apart so that they have room to cool. So crispy and crunchy. Yum. Alright guys, so I'm going to go ahead and let these cool for about 10-15 minutes or so, and then I'm going to go ahead and taste these with you. I am very excited, and oh my gosh, these look so delicious and they smell so good. Did you know I have a bunch of videos up now? So now you can binge watch. So you can check it out on YouTube, Minimum Wager's Kitchen. Don't forget to hit like, don't forget to hit subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you know when there's a new video. Alright, let's go back to the recipe. Well guys, I had so much fun making these for you today, and I hope you get to try out the recipe. It's totally worth it. By the way, these do keep for a good 5 days if you keep them in like a little Ziploc bag. Again, just make sure you cool them down all the way. Well guys, I had a great time making these delicious crackers for you today. So let's go ahead and try these out. Alright, I am so excited. I have made these before, but they are one of my favorites, and I have to say, every time I make them, again, that rosemary fills the whole room, and oh boy, it's just a lovely day after that. So let's give this a try. So crunchy, delicious, just enough salt, not too much, and I'm gonna have another one, because why not? Also too, you get to see all the salt flakes on there too. A little bit of the rosemary pieces throughout. Let's give this another taste. So crunchy. Super crunchy. Yeah, I'll show you too. Pretty thin. Nice and crispy. Ooh, nice crunch to it. Really super tasty. The other nice thing too, because of that baking powder, you get a little bit of that crispiness on top. So really helps out with that crispy, crunchy flavor and texture. And it also helps it keep crunchy for like the next 5 days or so, as long as you keep them in a cool, dry place, and up to 5 days. Man, I can't stop eating these. I gotta say, this one is definitely a time saver, and it's super flavorful. And if you're going to a party or a get-together, or even at home just for snacking, like with dips, or by themselves, really, it's a great thing to have around. And again, you can really get these knocked out in about 30 to 45 minutes, and that's with the cool down period. You just cool them off, eat them, and you're good to go. Also, too, you should check out my other video, Dips, Condiments, and Sauces on a Budget. And make sure you subscribe so that way you can check out all the other videos too. Well, you guys, I had a wonderful time today showing you how to make these amazing and very tasty and budget-friendly rosemary olive oil crackers on a budget. And I'll go ahead and leave you the batch cost and the serving cost on this side of the screen for you right about now. Ta-da! All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me today again. I had a great time. And don't forget to hit like, don't forget to hit subscribe, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so that way you know when my next video comes out. Well, guys, I had a great time making these really yummy and budget-friendly rosemary and olive oil crackers for you today, and I hope you get to make these too. If you do, let me know what you think of them in the comments. Well, thanks so much for joining me today, and I will see you on the next Minimum Wager's Kitchen. See you next time. Bye. 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 Bye.